Chan Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Yadesha Dharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Okay. So, let's see. Taking this. There we go. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the basics of Krishna consciousness. We've been talking a lot for many Sundays about our relationship with Srila Prabhupada. I'd like to go back to the basics. Srila Prabhupada, most of his talks were very, very basic. First thing is, I'm not this body. I'm not this material body. Isn't that something? I feel like I'm this body. I'm always taking care of this body. Too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry. But I'm here in this material world. And I'm inside a material body. The body, what is it made of? It's made of the material elements. Dead material nature. If you take some shovels, of earth from your front yard, your backyard, whatever, they're not conscious. It's not conscious. It's dead matter. This body is made of the dead material elements. They are never conscious. But I am spirit soul. We're all spirit soul. And now our consciousness is so much, we're experiencing life. We're experiencing being alive. We're alive. We can never not be alive because we're eternal spirit souls. But we're experiencing being alive through the medium of the material nature. We identify with this body and mind and senses. Body is our hardware. The mind is our software. And we identify with both. But why are we here? Why are we here in this material world? Apparently, Krishna has different energies. And one of the energies is called Tatashta Shakti. It's a marginal. It's neither spiritual, no, completely, nor material. But it has the ability to choose, to exercise a minute amount of freedom, to choose whether to be Krishna's eternal servant or to want to enjoy the material world, to try and be all we can be, to try and be, Krishna is God. He's the supreme controller. He's the supreme proprietor. And he's the supreme enjoyer. And we want to be, why not? Why just Krishna can be like that? Why can't I be the supreme controller and the supreme proprietor, to own as much as I can, and to be in control of as much as I can, and to enjoy all of this proprietorship and control. And so that desire has arisen within my heart when I was in the spiritual world. All of us here are like that. I don't know how big a percentage of us, of the Tatashta Shakti, of the marginal energy. There are unlimited millions, trillions, unlimited, infinite number of spirit souls. But some portion of that infinite number of souls, they have desired, to come to this material world and try to enjoy in this way. And Krishna has given us the facility. Actually, he's only created the material world to accommodate this desire. Krishna likes to be loved, and that's why he created us. Loving, what does loving mean? It means to take pleasure in Krishna's pleasure. That's love. Just like when people go to a baseball game or a football game, if their team wins, they're very happy. They're cheering for their team. So we are part of Krishna's team, and no, I mean, our real business is to cheer for Krishna's team, to take pleasure in hearing Krishna's pastimes with his devotees, and to participate in giving Krishna pleasure. And when Krishna is pleased, makes the spirit soul happy. This is our constitutional position. No one in the spiritual world has any other desire other than to enjoy the happiness of Krishna. We take pleasure in Krishna's pleasure. And somehow or other we've made this choice, and now we're here in the material world. According to our philosophy of Krishna Consciousness, Vedic philosophy, there are 8,400,000 different species of life, and we have experienced all of them, and we've come up from one species to another. Sometimes we're being eaten by other animals, other creatures. Sometimes we're eating others. And they're always eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, sex life. And now somehow we may have been here for millions and millions of births, and we've come to the human form. And it's only in this human form that a spirit soul can begin to understand spiritual philosophy. It's only in the human form that a spirit soul can begin to choose that I've been suffering so much in different species of life, and now I want to go home. I want to return to the spiritual world. We have a choice. The only problem is that we've been in this sense gratificatory orientation for so many births. It's a very strong habit to want to become happy by gratifying my senses. And now we have the mind is the sense number 6. It also has desires. To be a very powerful person, to be a very intelligent person, to be a very famous person, to be a very beautiful person, and this way, to be recognized by others, to be adored by others, to be famous. So this is another kind of sense gratification, to be a special person. So people are like that. But according to spiritual philosophy, the spirit soul can only be satisfied by spiritual satisfaction. But all these material kinds of satisfaction, they don't work. We are giving our love to material things that cannot love us back. All the things I have, all the things I love, they can't love me back because it's dead matter. And because of that, the spirit soul is endlessly desiring more and more. The richest men on the planet are not satisfied, but they want more. They can be a millionaire, you can be a billionaire, can be a trillionaire, and still they're making money. Or one can become, a civil servant, one can rise up through the government ranks, one can become the president of a country, but that's not enough. He wants to... Imperialism is the history of our planet. Imperialism is when one country goes and conquers another country to take charge of all the people in that country and all the resources in that country and make all those people work for them, like slaves. And slavery is another way of taking charge, of being in control. So, in other words, because we want Krishna's position for ourselves, this puts us all in competition, because only one person can be the topmost. So we're all in competition with each other, whether it's on a small level or a high level. It's the same game, that people are always feeling offended by each other and feeling not sufficiently recognized and honored by each other. Because we're all in competition. We want to be the master, but the other person that we want to be the master of, they also want to be the master. So this places us all. So there's so much, in other words, Krishna understands that we want his position for ourselves. So he takes all the souls that want his position and he puts them together in the material world, and he says, now you can express your envy of me, Krishna says, by being envious of each other. And so we are. So going on like this, life after life, sometimes higher planet, sometimes lower planet. But no matter how powerful or how successful we are, in the first place, we can't keep any of it. Because the process of time, we experience birth, old age, disease, and death. So no matter how good it gets, we can't keep it. So we're in a very unfortunate condition, but Krishna wants us to come back home. Krishna has created, the material world is like, we are in therapy, just like we have in the material world. There's a prison house and there's an insane asylum for those souls who can't follow the rules. Our constitutional position means what is our real nature in relative to the whole, the supreme, the all in all. What is our position? We're a tiny servant. And because we're part of the whole, when we render service to the whole, then we feel satisfied. The Absolute Supreme, Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Krishna is perfect and complete, and and we're his tiny parts and parcels. We're part of Krishna. We're actually part of Krishna. We can never be separated from Krishna, but we're in ignorance. We're not experiencing that. We're experiencing ourselves as separated. It's an illusion. It's impossible to be separated from Krishna, but we feel separated. So, and in this feeling of separation, in this experience of separation, we're trying to be happy. But we're experiencing from the highest planet to the lowest planet in the material creation. All are places of misery where birth and death occur. So Krishna has put us here that we should learn. Well, how do we learn? It's a two-step process. The first step is called suffering. We're trying very hard to be happy in so many ways. Family, society, friendship, love, possessions, everything. We're trying, but we're never really satisfied. And we want more, and things don't work, and there's frustration, and there's anger, and there's competition, and there's exploitation. So many anomalies. So when a person becomes really this is Krishna's therapy. Actually, nothing is happening to us bad. People go to war, their bodies may be shot, or their bodies may be torn to pieces. People are caught in earthquakes and buried alive. People are buried alive by volcanoes, molten lava. People are getting cancer. People are getting so many diseases. So there's so much pain. But actually, none of this is happening to the spirit soul. The spirit soul is never born. Imagine that. We were never born. There was never a time when we didn't exist. It's hard for the material mind. It's a challenge for the material mind to understand that there never was there a time when I didn't exist. And there will never be a time when I stop to exist. I'm eternal. Because spirit, life is spirit, and spirit is alive, and nothing can change that. But I'm experiencing a time crunch. I'm experiencing that now. I'm so many years old, and at some point I will have to leave this body. I'll have to leave my family. I'll have to leave my house, my car, my clothes, my possessions, everything, my bank account, my balance, everything I'll have to leave. So in this way we're suffering. Oh, there's other. Everybody in the material world is filled with fear. Every house has an insurance policy. And there's hazard insurance, and then there's flood insurance for houses that are in the flood area. Then there's car insurance. Then there's life insurance. There's insurance, and every door has to be locked. Every door has to be locked because this world is filled with thieves, from the top to the bottom. So this is but if you meet someone on the street and you say how you're doing, people will say, oh, I'm doing great. I just got a new hip replacement. I have a heart transplant, or I had a pacemaker put in, or I had just had a knee replacement. So many things, so many pains, so many troubles in this world. So when a person sees this, he's responding to Krishna's therapy. Nothing is happening to the spirit soul, but because the spirit soul identifies with this body, thinking this is what I am, therefore we undergo tremendous tribulation and terrible pain. So then that's the first part of our therapy. And as we respond to that therapy, we begin to inquire, what is this life all about? What is the purpose of life? And how do I make myself happy? How do I become happy? And then Krishna, he's in our heart. Krishna's in our heart, and he understands our mentality. He understands when we're really looking for answers, and he doesn't just leave us here in the material world. He sends his ambassador. He sends his representative. He sends to help us to understand what is the real problem and what is the real solution. He tells us that the real problem is that we are thinking ourselves to be independent enjoyers, but we're actually part and parcel of Krishna. The part becomes happy by serving the whole. Like the leaf on the tree that waters the root of the tree, the leaf receives the water. There's no other way for the leaf to get the water that it needs. There's no other way for us to get the love that we want, that we're always seeking, except to give our love to Krishna, to God. So Krishna's ambassador, Krishna's representative, he comes to counsel us. We're in the insane asylum of the material world, trying to be independently happy, trying to be supreme controller, supreme enjoyer. So, first step in our therapy is suffering. So we suffer for some 8,400,000 different kinds of life we go through. We suffer. Sometimes we're eating each other. Sometimes we're being eaten by each other. We experience all this. But nothing's happening to the spirit soul. It's just that he's falsely identifying. It's like a dream. When we go to bed at night, we lying on the bed, and we have a dream body. That dream body is made of mental energy. We talk about imagination, but mental energy, it's a real energy, mind. And but the forms are very subtle. You can't touch them with the fingers or the hand, but they're real. And when we're asleep, we have these. Our consciousness is inside our dream body, and we're experiencing so many things. But when we wake up, we say, "Oh, it was just a dream." But in the dream, one is thinking now, "Oh, a tiger is chasing me," or "a tiger wants to eat me," and we're taking it very seriously, but it's just a dream. And in the daytime, we have a different dream. We're dreaming that we're dreaming that I'm this material body, and so many things are happening, good fortune, bad fortune. But it's all a dream because nothing's happening to the soul. There's no gain for the soul in this world. There's no loss for the soul in this world. The soul can't be cut or dried or withered by the wind. The soul is eternal, but it's having this dream, and the dream is, so this dream is, it's gross. The dream is gross. The dream at night is subtle, and the dream in the daytime is gross. But it's a dream, because nothing's happening to the soul. The soul is asleep inside the body, inside this material body, and the soul is experiencing all the things of this dream, and all the pains and pleasures of this dream. It's just a dream. Nothing, we're not experiencing spiritual pleasure. We're experiencing identification with this gross dream body and our subtle dream body, the mind, and false ego. So, when we really, really want answers, Krishna says, he's in our heart. Krishna's in our heart, and he wants us, he wants us to come home, but he's waiting for us, that our sense of independence, our sense of rebellion, that our sense of envy, that it should subside, and we're getting ready. We're getting ready. We've like Srila Prabhupada said, Maya is always saying, come and enjoy, and then Maya slaps us, because everything we try to enjoy, it creates suffering. Just by trying to be a person in this world creates suffering, old age, disease, and death. Just by trying to live a normal life. So that's the first part of our therapy. And Krishna, when he sees that this soul is we're wearing down his sense of independence, his false sense of independence, we're wearing this down. So, and he's beginning to inquire. He wants to know. He's ready to accept real guidance. Krishna puts us in touch with a spiritual master, a real spiritual master. And that's the next part of our therapy. We're not just suffering, but now we're in counseling. We're getting counseling. He's telling us that you're having a bad dream. You're not this body. None of this is real. It's all something that has been structured, you've been hypnotized to identify with this dream. You're experiencing hypnotherapy. And your business now is to wake up out of this dream. Your real identity is that you're an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, and your real identity is that you're Krishna's eternal loving servant. And only loving Krishna can make your heart happy. And that's where you want to be happy, but you can't be happy any other way, because you're part of the whole. And when you give your love to Krishna, like the leaf that's watering the tree, the root, the leaf gets back the water. So when we give our love to Krishna, this the counseling we're receiving, then when we give our love to Krishna, then we start to feel happiness within our heart, a spiritual happiness, unending happiness. Raja Vidya, Raja Goyam, pavitram idam uttamam pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam shushukam kartam avyayam. So Raja Vidya, Raja means king, Vidya means knowledge. This is as everyone's looking for knowledge in the material world. There are so many researches going on. Yeah, like they want to prevent disease, they're doing research. But if you don't have a material body, all of your diseases are finished. So the real, the solution to all the problems of life is spiritual. All these, nobody, they can research for millions and trillions of years, but the problems of birth, old age, disease, and death will still be there. So we get this counseling that there's only one way to go back to the spiritual world. Your eternal nature, your constitutional nature, is that you love Krishna. And this love is dormant in everybody's heart. It's dormant in my heart. It's dormant in your heart. This love of Krishna, and it immediately connects us with Krishna. Love of Krishna connects us with, because we are connected with Krishna, but we don't experience that connection until the love is there. Love is the medium of exchange. So now the counseling continues, and we call the counselor our therapist. We call him our spiritual master. He's a master of his own spirit. He doesn't feel that he's anyone else's master, but he's mastered just like we are servants of our senses. But the spiritual master, he's the master of his senses. There, Swami means master. Goswami means master of his senses. We're Godasa, we're servants of our senses. And he's Goswami, he's the master of his senses. In other words, the senses are not dragging him to continue in the cycle of birth and death. His senses are in freedom, and he's going to show us, tell us, explain to us how we can use our senses to take us to freedom instead of to being bondage in the cycle of birth and death. He's going to tell us how to use our senses in that way. So he says love is the only way to get out of this world. If we love Krishna, then we're situated in our constitutional position, what Krishna has created us for. So how to develop that love? So that love is dormant in our hearts. It's a very mysterious process, very subtle process, this cultivation of love. The teacher, he has to have this love in his heart. He has to be a PhD. He's the PhD, highest postgraduate professor of how to love God. And it's alive in his heart at every moment. And the only way that we can acquire this love is we have to learn surrender. So what is this surrender? Surrender. if one army is fighting with another army soldiers, and one army decides we can't win this war, so we're going to throw down our weapons and we're going to surrender to the other party. Surrender. So what does it, or if a person, how do you say, if a person is a criminal and he's in touch, and the police catch him and they say, put up your hands now, and he puts up his hands and he says, I surrender. So that surrender means now he's ready to be obedient. But surrender in the spiritual sense, it means more than that. Surrender in a spiritual sense means submission. Submission. Sometimes you see a wrestling on the YouTube or on the people go to wrestling matches, and one wrestler puts the other wrestler in a hold and twists his arm, and he's in pain, and he taps the mat. It means I surrender. He gets a submission hold. Submission and surrender in spiritual life is a little different. It's more than obedience. It's more than saying, now you're in control of me and I'll do what you say. Submission is a submission. It's of the heart. To be really surrendered means just like tadvidi pranipatena paraprashnena sevaya upadeksyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. Now, you want this knowledge, you have to approach a self-realized, someone who has this love in their heart for Krishna, and you approach them in submissive mood. Paraprashnena. Paraprashnena means submissive inquiry. Making inquiry, saying, what is this love? What is this love of Krishna? I want to understand. So submission means, Srila Prabhupada explains, what is that word? He uses that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the first Adi Lila, first chapter, verse 47, in the purport. He says that there's two kinds of instruction. One is objective instruction. Do this, do that, and don't do this, don't do that. It's called objective instruction, but there's a different kind of instruction. It's called subjective instruction. So, with the word subjective means how you feel, how we feel. It's subjective. So in subjective instruction means subjective instruction how to love Krishna means learning how to feel devotion. And it says that one has to have a teacher, a spiritual master, our counselor, in the insane asylum of the material world, our counselor, he is going to help us to understand this love of Krishna. But the way in which he instructs us is that he's going to share his feelings with us. There's no other way to learn. That's why it is said throughout the Vaishnava literature that the spiritual counselor, the PhD in spiritual psychology, he has to be self-realized. It means he has to be situated in his constitutional position so nicely that when we're close to him, we can feel what he's feeling. And then we can act. Srila Prabhupada says it's like an apprenticeship. Under his direction, he's teaching us, do this like with this feeling. And in that way, so he says, so that's why we sing every day. From him, this feeling of love of Krishna emanates. Prema bhakti hoite, avidya vinashayate. Prema bhakti hoite, avidya vinashayate. Vedega. So he says that from him, that feeling of love of Krishna, it emanates, just like the light of the sun emanates from the sun and fills the whole universe. So from the Krishna's representative, his therapist, we're in therapy. He's come to teach us to revive our dormant love for Krishna. He shares his, and if from him this love emanates, and if we can catch it, avidya vinasha, our ignorance is destroyed. If there's devotion in our heart, there's no room for ignorance. When there's just like when you put on the light in your room, there's no room for darkness. So the way to remove our ignorance is simply to have devotion. So where will we get that devotion? So the bona fide spiritual master, Krishna says, the self-realized soul, he will impart this knowledge to you. He's going to share his love with us. And so submission means, submission, we hear this on submissive oral reception, or surrender. So surrender doesn't mean if a policeman captures me and I say I surrender, now I'm going to do whatever you say. Surrender means that I become so submissive in my heart that we can begin to feel Srila Prabhupada's heart. Actually, in the 10th canto, in one purport, Srila Prabhupada says that initiation, diksha, actually means the cultivation of a heart-to-heart connection. And Krishna says, just approach that self-realized soul and be very submissive. And with a desire to understand what this love is, be very submissive to receive it. Inquire from him submissively. And he says, and then you render service under his guidance. He can share this love of Krishna with you because he's Tattva Darshana. He has the darshan of Krishna. He's always in touch with Krishna. So this is submission and surrender in spiritual life is not so much a list of do's and don'ts. to be submissive means transcendentally to empathize with somebody who has love of God. We receive, we open our heart. This is submission. This is what surrender means. This is the only way we can reawaken our. So when we, so Krishna says, it's a threefold formula. You inquire, what is this love? Inquire from him, but you do it with submission, and my heart is open enough to feel his heart, and then with that feeling, in his association, to engage in Krishna conscious activities. That means, that is the meaning of engaging under his guidance. That is the meaning of engaging in devotional service in the association of a pure devotee. That's what it means. It means being submissive enough to asking him, please share this Krishna consciousness with me, and being open enough in the heart. So he says, well, how? This means our relationship with Srila Prabhupada has to be a relationship of love. Because you're not going to share your heart with somebody unless they love you. And the spiritual master's the same way. I have quotes on my computer, but my memory is very weak. But the idea is, in one quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita, a disciple who actually has real love for the spiritual master, everything becomes revealed to him. It says that. That's, another one says, oh, the brahmachari has to be obedient. And then Srila Prabhupada says, but how can he be obedient? He says if he loves the spiritual master, then he can be obedient. Because if we love Srila Prabhupada, to that degree he shares with us his devotional feelings.
Well, he played the piano.
Oh. And when he shares it, and then if we engage with those feelings in our heart, we're practicing under his guidance. And then when we engage in devotion, we become happy. and as much as we're devotional, all our desire for material happiness evaporates. Detachment, and we realize ourselves as spirit soul. He says knowledge, to know that we're not this body, and detachment, jnana and vairagya, are byproducts of devotional service. You don't have to be as strongly determined to avoid sense gratification. It won't work anyways. We have to be determined to try to come closer to a pure devotee who's come to share Krishna consciousness with us. And from him, this love of Krishna emanates, and if we can catch it, our material desires, our ignorance is destroyed. And so this is the whole business, and it's very, very simple. And we have to have this understanding. This is the whole process of how to solve all the problems of life. So this is the basics of Krishna consciousness. I can't talk about higher levels of Krishna consciousness because I'm just a beginner. I'm a baby, a neophyte devotee. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 5th chapter, 25th verse, Srila Prabhupada says, the neophyte, he's talking about us, about you and me. Of course, you may be more advanced, I don't know, but he's talking about me. And Srila Prabhupada says, the neophyte, you look and see that 1.525, the neophyte devotee, he gets the taste of devotion in the association of the pure devotee. He gets it. So this is what we're discussing. It's not like we were saying before, that Diksha, Srila Prabhupada writes in the 10th canto, is the establishment. Diksha, initiation, is the establishment of a heart-to-heart connection. We have to have, and the teacher has to be someone who has Krishna always in his heart. so if the
You're not gonna vacuum right now, are you?
Hare Krishna.
I'm in class.
There's different people here, and that's okay. So yes, we have to have a heart-to-heart relationship with our self-realized spiritual master. He can impart knowledge unto us because he sees the truth. He has seen the truth. So, and then if we take this up, and it's very nice, it doesn't matter, we could do anything. You could be sweeping the kitchen floor and feel Srila Prabhupada's presence in our heart. And how would he be sweeping the kitchen floor? How would he be wiping the kitchen counter? How would Srila Prabhupada be cleaning a dish or a pot in the sink? How would Srila Prabhupada do anything? So he does everything with this, always thinking of Krishna with love. This is Krishna's dish. This is Krishna's pot. This is Krishna's floor. This is Krishna's countertop. It means that learning to live, never to be alone, means always to be in his association, never walking alone, and under his guidance, learning what, and cultivating, and as we cultivate it, it keeps growing. And we think, oh, this is nice, and we want more, and then in this way we progress from one platform to the next in Krishna consciousness, always under the guidance of our spiritual master. And because he's very special devotee of Krishna, he's one of Krishna's eternal associates. And Krishna empowers him to take the role of the all-pervasive Supersoul, who's in all of our hearts. So we can all have a relationship with Srila Prabhupada, all of us, at the same time. He can be all of our teacher at the same time. And he just, the Lord in the heart is just waiting for us to turn to him. And Srila Prabhupada, the external manifestation of the Lord in our heart. So then we get a little taste, and we think, oh, this is very nice. I should learn to live this way. And he's going to take me home. But we have so many habits, so we're forgetful, and we're distracted, and sometimes we become fruitive, concerned about success and failure, honor and dishonor, so many things. But that's to be expected. But the thing is about the spirit, materially, you can lose something, it's gone. But spiritually, whatever spiritual knowledge or progress we've made, it's never lost. It just keeps, every time we come back and continue again to engage in Krishna consciousness under Srila Prabhupada's guidance, it just continues to grow. So nobody should be disheartened or lose heart or lose enthusiasm or lose hope because we're on a very progressive path. Krishna knows, Srila Prabhupada knows, he expects that we're going to have challenges, that because we've been in this fruitive frame of the heart for so many millions of births, whatever. So he understands. He says, keep going, and whatever we're, so that it will reach a point where we'll say, I just wanna be with him all the time. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays like that. He's in that song, I don't know the Bengali, but it says, you are always tasting the nectar of the holy name. When will I hold onto your feet until the end of time? When, oh when, will that day be mine? We begin to aspire in that way, to hope, to want that very much. Then Krishna will help us to do that also. So no one should be discouraged. Krishna consciousness is only positive, and every bit, it's like Srila Prabhupada says, it will add up, it will add up, it will add up, and then just like a person becomes an addict. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, he once said that to me. He said, you have seen this? You have seen this? he said, Krishna consciousness is like that. You take, you'll get caught. And he was smiling. So we will, just like we're addicted to material things, we become addicted to Krishna consciousness. Okay. Ram Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
How much time, Prabhu?
I think we started about 12 o'clock, so probably 100,
We're
about an hour and 5 or something like this.
Okay, we're improving. Not to make it too long. So if anybody has anything to say, please say, or to bring up any questions or anything. And
Rachish, some other, you had a comment, question, and you had a hand raised, so go ahead if you want.
Hare Krishna. Your sound is off, Mataji.
Namaham Vishnu Parai.
Hare Krishna.
It was very encouraging, what you say. And I will listen to the beginning of the class because I miss it. But I enjoy every word. I'm drinking like a nectar.
You know, we all need each other.
Of course.
So you can't talk to anybody like that except to other
Never.
devotees.
There was a few weeks in last December, there was no reunion of devotees, and I just feel so bad. It was unbearable not to have association with devotees.
Yeah. I remember how it was living in the temple for so many years.
Yeah.
Every morning, every evening, you know.
When I go sleep at night, when I was in the temple,
Yeah.
I just want to wake up and go to Mangal Arati. Is the only thing I was thinking. Just go sleep fast so I can wake up. Go to Mangal Arati. Enthusiasm. Blissful.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ishar Prabhu, you
Yeah.
mentioned two basics of Krishna consciousness, and we see it's very difficult. The whole world's problem is based on people are in this body conscious, and they try to get more and more. It's like a never-ending story of wars, so many things, and this body is destined to die anyways within a certain amount of time.
It's
And
a kind of madness.
yeah, it's
But
like they make bombs, weapons, just to accelerate this process, which is already destined for the body, and to make everything based on this bodily conception of life. So it's a great form of madness, which
and you have, Prabhu, you have thousands or millions of people who are trying in so many ways how to make the material world better. They're doing research. The psychologists are doing research. The doctors are doing research. The scientists are doing research. And then you have people who are they're parading with signs, and they want to make a better government. Everybody wants to make the material world into a nice place. Srila Prabhupada said, it's not a nice place. Krishna didn't make it to be a nice place. He made it to be a place of suffering because we need that. That's the first step in our therapy to take us back, is to discourage us from thinking that this is a nice place and I can enjoy it. Yeah, no matter how good it gets, old age and death will take everything away anyways. So, from the highest planet to the lowest planet. So, yeah. But those people who are still like that, thinking they can maybe make it a better place, all we need is a revolution, they're thinking. And then we'll have another war, and we'll create a guillotine or something like that, and then everybody will all be happy. It just means they're not ready. They haven't suffered enough yet. The world is made for us to suffer so that we become, if there's an answer, I'm ready to hear. Krishna says, this one is ready. Put him in touch with my pure devotee. immediately, as soon as we're ready. So it's not a question as to why some of us are on this road, a path back to Godhead, and some of us are not. Some people, they're not ready yet. They need a little more. That's the way Krishna. It's all Krishna's love, because nothing's happening to anyone in the wars, in the what do they call that part of the hospital?
The ER?
Emergency room, but then they have intensive care.
Yes.
People, nothing's happening to them. They're experiencing like a bad dream. Identifying with the material, the gross dream. And so it's Krishna doing it out of love, trying to turn us around, and so that we start to inquire. So all people say, there can't be God, because bad things are happening to good people. They think like that. How could there be God? No, nothing's happening to anybody. It's all just a bad dream, and it's hypnotherapy. We're in therapy, just to get us to give up, but we're so stubborn. we're so stubborn. We want to keep trying to make it into a nice place. So, but Krishna's very patient.
Right. Jonas Priya Prabhu, any comments, questions?
Just want to thank Prabhu for the wonderful class as always.
Right. Hare Krishna.
I think he's the only person that I know that is preaching like this, talking about stuff that really matters, it's like, how could we get to love Krishna? How could we love Prabhupada? How could we serve Krishna or Prabhupada better, There's nobody else talking about this. I feel that we're very blessed. Thank you, Prabhupada.
I can't hear. Ram,
Yeah.
can you
Yes.
tell me what Jonas Priya is saying?
He's saying that you're the only person that has been giving nice examples in how one should develop their love for Prabhupada and Krishna to the with, simultaneously with the pure devotee.
I think it's just not very well understood. When I lived with devotees for 10 years or so, until Srila Prabhupada left, I say, we were told in class, morning and evening, that if you do these things and you don't do those things, one day you're going to get, it's like if you hand in a good report card. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, and you get enough points, then you get a reward, and that will be blessed with Krishna. That's the way it was taught to us. It's not necessarily the way Srila Prabhupada taught it, but it's the way our material minds interpreted it. And that's what we were told all the time. And I believe if somebody did a sociological study, I bet you over 90%, 95, 98%, they believe that if we just do everything we're supposed to do, one day there will be a reward. But actually, we sing every day from him, Krishna Prem emanates, and if we catch it, our ignorance is destroyed. We say that. We say, in so many ways it's there, but it seems to go over our heads because we have our own preconceptions of how things work, and so we interpret what Srila Prabhupada is telling us according to our ideas. So I like to talk about it. Because it's so exciting, and this is the simplest part of Krishna consciousness. Anyway, Hare Krishna. I shouldn't talk too much.
Jai Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhus, thank you very much, Ishan Prabhu, for the discussion and class and the details. Thank you, Mother Ruchisha, for joining, and Jana Spear from Hawaii. We'll continue our program next week, same time.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All
Haribol,
glories to Srila
Vanchakalpatruvecha, Kripasindhuvecha, Patitanam Pavanevyo, Vaishnaveyo Namo
Vaishnavevyo
Namo.
Namo.